You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
San Francisco leaders finally pass a nearly $16 billion budget, but only a few departments were spared from major cuts. We're going to break down the numbers. Plus, rural America meets big city San Francisco. We're going to take you inside the exchange program aimed at connecting students from all walks of life.
We are so divided right now in so many ways, not just politically, but really culturally.
And he is a homeless advocate like no other. Meet our Icon Award winner who gave up his own bed to let someone come in from the cold. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to have those stories and lots more right after our news headlines. It is official. Attorney General Pam Bondi and other Trump administration officials are touring Alcatraz today. A chopper was overhead this morning when they arrived on the island. This comes 2 months after President Trump announced plans to reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison. Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi called the Trump administration's plan the stupidest initiative yet.
And they want this to be a diversionary tactic from what they did in their stupid, ugly, cruel, nasty budget bill.
Well, Alcatraz, of course, once housed notorious criminals like Al Capone, but was closed in 1963 and then eventually designated a national park. More on that visit coming up in a few moments. Fire tore through an Oakland building overnight. It was a vacant building, luckily, but it broke out at the corner of 9th and Madison just before 11 o'clock. Fire crews evacuated nearby buildings and worked through the morning to protect them. No one was hurt, and those who were evacuated are expected to be let in once this area is safe. The Oakland Fire Department says the apartment building was vacant because of another fire a few months earlier. The cause under investigation. New developments in the killing of UC Berkeley professor in Greece, Przemysław Ziziorski, was shot 5 times at close range on July 4th in Athens. Now his ex-wife is under arrest. Greek authorities believe she arranged to have him killed as he walked to her home to visit their 2 children. They also arrested the ex-wife's boyfriend and 3 other men accused of being accomplices. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast. The weekend is almost here. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, we're cooling down as we head into the next couple days throughout our coastal areas, but our daytime highs along our inland spots are actually starting to warm up just a little bit. Let's take Napa and Vallejo, for example. Yesterday, we were in the 60s. Today, we're back into the 70s with the rest of our friends all the way up into wine country, too. From Santa Rosa down into Novato and all the way off into the East Bay we go. We're seeing a mixed bag of 70s and 80s throughout this afternoon. It's a very similar trend for our friends into the Santa Clara Valley. Now, you look along the coast, what a temperature spread we're still seeing. I mean, 80s off into the East Bay, 60s along our shoreline into Half Moon Bay in San Francisco this afternoon. We're dealing with those cool, cloudy mornings, but luckily we start to see some sunshine into the afternoon hours, widespread throughout the Bay Area with the exception of the coast. Now, here's the other big weather story for us. The winds are light right now, but this is going to be something we're talking about next week. By Monday and Tuesday, the winds are going to start kicking up a bit more. Today alone, we see gusts up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour from our coast pushing inland all the way to the Delta. And while we're looking a little bit more ahead, let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center. They're showing below normal conditions throughout the next 6 to 10 days, not only here in the Bay Area, but throughout the whole state of California, throughout all of the West Coast for the most part. And this is good relief for our friends up closer to the Pacific Northwest, where they were dealing with well above average temperatures the past few days. But back here in the Bay, things are a little bit more mild, a little bit more moderate. Look at the next 7 days. I mean, it's pretty much a copy and paste each day for us. Coastal drizzle in the morning hours, cloudy skies. It's no sky July after all, right? And then once we head into this weekend, we don't see too much of a change. The only difference, we're going to see some gustier conditions into early next week. Now let's make our way over into our inland spots real fast. This is where we see the difference. Daytime highs start to rise a bit into Sunday and then cool back down into next week.
Well, more now on the visit to Alcatraz by Attorney General Pam Bondi and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. Our chopper spotted them and other Trump administration officials touring Alcatraz Island today. At one point, Attorney General Bondi, dressed all in black there, stopped to take a selfie along with the couple. of other people next to this sign of Alcatraz Island. And then after the tour, she put on a life vest and hopped into a Coast Guard boat to leave the island. Today's visit comes after President Trump posted "Rebuild and Open Alcatraz" back in May. He says he wants to move the country's most ruthless and violent offenders there, and he's directed federal agencies to work together to reopen it. Our Kevin Coe is in San Francisco to tell us more.
Attorney General Pam Bondi and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum both reportedly on Alcatraz Island this morning to unveil a plan to turn the rock back into a federal prison. Now, a lot of this information we have is coming from Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, who released a scathing statement opposing this visit. She also spoke about this on CBS News Bay Area this morning. Now, we also spoke to a historian who says the repairs itself would take an excessive amount of time and money.
There's no running water. There's no heat. There's no sewage. Many of the cells have yet to be abated of hazmat stuff like lead paint. It's on a rock in the middle of San Francisco Bay. There's no fresh water. Everything from diesel fuel for the generators to potable water. It was estimated that it costs 3 times as much to keep a convict on Alcatraz as a similar prison located on the mainland.
Now, before any of that is legally allowed, congressional approval is required for Alcatraz to become a prison once again. That may be difficult. Political experts tell us they believe this could be a bipartisan issue.
It's a landmark, and so I don't think that San Franciscans are going to be willing to give that up so easily. And also, at the end of the day, this is being used symbolically and in a way that's consistent even with like alligator Alcatraz, right? That the cruelty, the brutality is the point. And so a lot of Democratic lawmakers and even some Republicans, I would expect, would push back against this, if not for the price tag, for the fact that it's just a kind of a completely unnecessary expenditure at this point.
That seems to be the same or at least similar tone from elected officials. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie saying he opposes any idea to turn the rock back into a federal prison, saying he would like any investment from the federal government to be used elsewhere. As for California Governor Gavin Newsom, he said it last night, he's been saying it for months, he opposes any plans to turn Alcatraz back into a prison.
We talked to Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi today, and she called the proposal to reopen Alcatraz to prisoners nothing more than a distraction.
Let's put it this way. It's local, so everybody's paying attention to it. But what's also local and personal is what they're doing to America's families, working families, kitchen table issues. And for them, at the same day as the Supreme Court, their toady Supreme Court has said that they could undo the Department of Education. Nothing brings more money to the Treasury than the education of the American people, early childhood, K through 12, higher education, post-grad, lifetime learning for our workers. And they're taking that away and taking billions from California on that. In addition to that, they are dismantling the Department of Education, so says the toady court. And so while terrible things are happening to what we are as the character and the culture of America and the health and well-being of our children, what do they want us to be talking about? Alcatraz. And so we are talking about Alcatraz, but we're talking about it in the context of the stupidity and the cruel, on the one hand, of this thing, because it doesn't make any economic sense, and compared to the cruelty of the opportunity cost of that money. At the same time as they're giving tax breaks to the wealthiest people in America, they've decided that instead of feeding the children, they're going to convert Alcatraz.
Well, this statement from the office of Governor Newsom, quote, Pam Bondi will reopen Alcatraz the same day Trump lets her release the Epstein files, so never. San Francisco Sheriff Paul Miyamoto joined us today on our morning edition. He said it would not be easy or cheap to transform Alcatraz to what it once was.
There are a number of challenges of making Alcatraz a functioning facility. I believe at the time it was operating, it cost 3 times the cost of having a land-based prison. And the challenges with infrastructure in terms of the salt water, in terms of the deterioration of that infrastructure would make it seem something of unwise investment.
All right, so we're going to be closely following this story throughout the day. Get the latest updates at kpix.com and streaming on the free CBS News app. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, neighbors in Oakland celebrating a safer street, but not what it took to make it happen. Why they say this is long overdue.
It's a reminder of like, well, we got these faster because of a tragedy and shouldn't take a tragedy.
Plus, San Francisco's budget gets the green light, but that means tough cuts for some of the city's most vulnerable residents. How homeless advocates are dealing with the budget fallout and which departments actually got more money.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Well, that midweek cool down is coming to an end, but daytime highs aren't getting too drastically above average by any means. We're still holding on tight to 60s each day as we head into this weekend's forecast for our friends along the bay. Upper 60s, holding on tight to us into early next week too. But where we do see a difference when it comes to our daytime highs and the influence of high pressure building in, it's honestly our inland areas. Yesterday we were mostly in the 70s. Today we're back into the 80s, and we'll gradually warm into the mid 80s as we head into this weekend's forecast, with relative humidity dropping before we head into next week.
Oakland's San Antonio neighborhood got some new speed bumps installed. They were put in after the death of Castlemont High School teacher Dr. Marvin Boomer Jr. He died after a crash involving a speeding driver. Police say he was trying to get away from the CHP. That crash happened in late May at the intersection of East 21st Street and 12th Avenue. The speed bumps are located on a 2-block stretch of East 21st Street from 11th Avenue to 13th. Neighbors all but begged the city to do something to make their street safer. Andrea Nakano spoke with some of those neighbors who say the changes are long overdue.
A welcome road closure in the Clinton neighborhood of Oakland as crews laid the groundwork for speed bumps on East 21st Street. One of the two speed bumps is just feet away from where Oakland teacher Dr. Marvin Boomer lost his life.
And we heard this screech crash, and it was bigger than most of the crashes you hear around here.
Thea Rujo remembers the day like it was yesterday.
The lady was over there holding the guy's hand. She was yelling, "Help me, help me."
Rujo believes if these speed bumps were in place weeks ago, Dr. Boomer may still be alive. She's already seeing drivers slowing down on this road.
They're great. Oh no, we should have them all over the place. These people are driving like absolute maniacs.
Some neighbors gathered for a bittersweet celebration, rejoicing in watching drivers hit the brakes.
We've wanted this for a long time. We're happy. We're doing some kind of coming out and celebrating and watching the cars brake as they go over the speed bumps, and some of them bump a little bit, and we're like, this is not a through street.
Halliburton says a neighborhood petition has been in the works for years to try to get these speed bumps on this street. He says the city only took action after Dr. Boomer was killed by a speeding driver.
It's a reminder of like, well, we got these faster because of a tragedy and shouldn't take a tragedy.
The city, though, sent a statement saying this was a rapid response to the tragic death of Dr. Boomer only after it received a petition from residents 2 weeks after the crash. Residents say there are many other neighborhoods still waiting for their speed bumps, so they feel safe when they walk out the door.
You should be able to walk out of your house and walk in your neighborhood without worrying that every time I cross this street, I am scared to death.
Well, Dr. Boomer was hit and killed while walking on the sidewalk with his girlfriend. Officials say the driver was fleeing from CHP officers, though the CHP says that its officers had backed off just before the crash. The Boomer family attorney says her team plans to file a civil suit against the driver. That alleged driver, Eric Hernandez Garcia, is now being held without bail on a host of charges, including vehicular manslaughter. Napa County Sheriff's officers say a 67-year-old woman ended up with traumatic head injuries at the hands of her nephew. Investigators say 37-year-old Domingo Parra punched his aunt more than 40 times early Tuesday morning. Happened along Sandra Drive. That aunt is being treated at the hospital, and Parra is facing several charges, including attempted murder. The former bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church has pleaded guilty to a fraud scheme targeting a number of churches under his jurisdiction, including 4 here in the Bay Area. The U.S. Attorney's Office says that Bishop Staccato Powell led a scheme that left several churches facing bankruptcy. He is facing 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for each charge. Fire destroyed an historic home in San Ramon. The El Nido House on San Ramon Valley Boulevard and West Side Drive was built back in the 19th century by the Harlan family. It's been vacant for years as the owner tried to get the building designated as an historic site. Well, the fire broke out yesterday and tore through the upper level of that house, leaving only the chimney standing.
And this was the fear all along. Either this building will collapse on its own or there will be some kind of arson. We have had consistent trespassing issues on this property. We had barbed wires around the fence. City and neighbors complained about it.
Yeah, so that was the owner there. He had plans to renovate the home and make it part of an assisted living facility. Cause of that fire still under investigation. After months of haggling and some intense public outcry, San Francisco's Board of Supervisors passed Mayor Daniel Lurie's budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And it does come with some painful cuts to close the city's nearly $800 million budget deficit. Our Lauren Toms breaks it all down.
With that, the ordinances are passed on first reading and the resolution is adopted.
In a city where every dollar carries weight and every line item tells a story, San Francisco has a new budget, and it's a big one, $16 billion. Just over 6 months into his first term in office, Mayor Daniel Lurie's vision has passed, with support for public safety, but painful cuts to nonprofits and city departments. Last week, Lurie, who was required to produce a balanced budget to combat a $782 million budget deficit, acknowledged the tough cuts that came with the job.
This year's budget offered few good options.
That sentiment echoes far beyond City Hall. Just blocks away at Project Homeless Connect, which provides homeless prevention aid and resources for those experiencing homelessness, Pamela Grayson Holman got the news that after 2 decades, their city funding, or 92% of their budget, was cut entirely.
Our unhoused neighbors are going to feel the immediate effects of this. And so those mental health services and just all the wealth of services that CBOs provide are really critical to having clean, safe streets here in San Francisco.
The final budget passed 10-1. The lone no vote coming from freshman supervisor Jackie Fielder, who says this budget sends the wrong message about who the city chooses to protect.
This is not leadership. This is abandonment. For all those reasons, I cannot, in good conscience, vote in support of this budget, and I will be voting no, with disappointment, with frustration, but also with clarity about the kind of city we are fighting to become.
But the budget is fulfilling a key campaign promise of Lurie's to prioritize public safety. The district attorney's office, police, fire, and sheriff's departments are all seeing small boosts. It comes at a critical time for newly minted Police Officers Association President Louis Wong. Says the department's $849 million budget will help it address staffing shortages and keep up the progress made with the city's dropping crime numbers.
We can't cut. But if we do have a cut in public safety, we're just going to stop the momentum of more officers coming. We are having more recruitments. We're down 500 officers, and we plan to hire more.
But critics say that shouldn't come at the expense of other key services. Back at Project Homeless Connect, Pamela says they're now turning to the support from not the city, but the people of San Francisco.
As the city steps back, we are hoping and praying that the city, the community, the residents of this great city will step up and preserve these very vital services for those here that need the services the most.
Well, there is one caveat to all of this, and that is the Trump administration, which has threatened massive funding cuts to blue cities like San Francisco over its sanctuary city policies. Now, Mayor Lurie has insisted that the city will uphold those policies and has set aside $400 million in reserves as a buffer if those federal cuts come. But the city gets about 7% of its budget from the federal government. That's about $1.2 billion at stake here, which could create some big holes even with those reserves. still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. We are going to meet some students making the most of an exchange program that helps people from big cities and small towns get a taste of a much different lifestyle. Some students from all across the country spent time playing tourist in San Francisco. It is all part of the American Exchange Project, a nonprofit aimed at connecting young people from different backgrounds. This past week, students from rural towns all over the country visited the Bay Area. Our Suji Nam spent the day with these students to learn why this program means so much.
We are getting on this train.
Samariana Thurman is getting a glimpse of what it's like to commute from the South Bay to San Francisco. It's her first time on an electric train.
I ain't never been on a train going somewhere other than inside the airport.
Thurman is from Jackson, Georgia, a town of about 6,000 people.
It's very different. I'm loving it, loving the weather.
As a part of the American Exchange Project, she, along with about 30 other students, most from Middle America, are touring the wonders of the Bay Area for a week.
The goal of this program is to really help bring our country back together. We are so divided right now in so many ways, not just politically, but really culturally.
Caitlin Drews is a history teacher at Palo Alto High School. As the program's exchange manager, she not only helps host students, but also sends her own recently graduated seniors to towns that are a bit more rural.
I'm going to Dodge City, Kansas.
Clara Fesselmeyer just graduated from Palo Alto High School and is excited for her trip to the Midwest.
We were learning about sociology and putting ourselves in different environments and learning about them, and I think it's a really cool opportunity, so I wanted to try it out.
Fesselmeyer is one of several Bay Area students welcoming those like Thurman to California. The first stop in the city, a quick Muni ride to iconic Union Square.
I feel like I'm in heaven right now. I like to shop, so everything I like is out here.
And it's a short walk over to the historic gateway to Chinatown. She is intrigued by a defining characteristic of San Francisco.
My calves are tight. I'm not used to walking up hills.
Thurman is excited to share this new experience with her friends from other parts of the country. And you can't forget the food.
I love the noodles, any type of noodles.
Thurman is amazed by the countless Chinese dishes on the menu. Some she has heard of, and some she was excited to try for the first time.
It's just like a donut. Yeah.
It's experiences like these that make up the vision of the American Exchange Project. The nonprofit has connected nearly 1,000 students, swapping hometowns between larger metropolitan areas and rural towns.
Right here?
By staying with host families, these students get a glimpse of the world outside their hometowns.
I'm glad I got to go on this trip, meet new people, and I feel like in the long run, we'll be having an AEP reunion when everybody come back together.
Thurman makes unforgettable memories and now lifelong friends along the way.
Love it. The students are also spending time volunteering in the South Bay and then visiting Santa Cruz. Palo Alto High School has been doing this for about 5 years. The program is free, including flights and lodging, so students of all backgrounds can take part. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area and East Bay City with some prime real estate, and some say it is being wasted. The new front plan to reimagine the waterfront.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Thursday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at some of our news headlines. Attorney General Pam Bondi touring Alcatraz today. Our chopper was overhead this morning when she and other officials from the Trump administration arrived on the island. This comes 2 months after President Trump announced plans to reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison. Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi called the Trump administration's plan its stupidest initiative yet. Fire tore through a vacant building in Oakland overnight. It broke out at the corner of 9th and Madison just before 11 p.m. Fire crews evacuated nearby buildings and worked through the morning hours to protect them. Nobody was hurt, and the people who were evacuated are expected to be let back in once it is safe. Oakland Fire says this apartment building was actually vacant because of another fire a few months earlier. The cause still under investigation. New developments in the killing of a UC Berkeley professor in Greece. Przemysław Giziorski was shot 5 times at close range on July 4th in Athens. Now his ex-wife is under arrest. Greek authorities believe she arranged to have him killed as he walked to her home to visit their 2 children. They also arrested the ex-wife's boyfriend and 3 other men accused of being accomplices. All right, the weekend is almost here. Let's get another check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, we're cooling down as we head into the next couple days throughout our coastal areas, but our daytime highs along our inland spots are actually starting to warm up just a little bit. Let's take Napa and Vallejo, for example. Yesterday we were in the 60s. Today we're back into the 70s with the rest of our friends all the way up into wine country too. From Santa Rosa down into Novato and all the way off into the East Bay we go. We're seeing a mixed bag of 70s and 80s throughout this afternoon. It's a very similar trend for our friends into the Santa Clara Valley. Now you look along the coast, what a temperature spread we're still seeing. I mean, 80s off into the East Bay, 60s along our shoreline into Half Moon Bay and San Francisco this afternoon. We're dealing with those cool, cloudy mornings, but luckily we start to see some sunshine into the afternoon hours, widespread throughout the Bay Area with the exception of the coast. Now, here's the other big weather story for us. The winds are light right now, but this is going to be something we're talking about next week. By Monday and Tuesday, the winds are going to start kicking up a bit more. Today alone, we see gusts up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour from our coast pushing inland all the way to the Delta. And while we're looking a little bit more ahead, let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center. They're showing below normal conditions throughout the next 6 to 10 days, not only here in the Bay Area, but throughout the whole state of California, throughout all of the West Coast for the most part. And this is good relief for our friends up closer to the Pacific Northwest, where they were dealing with well above average temperatures the past few days. But back here in the Bay, things are a little bit more mild, a little bit more moderate. Look at the next 7 days. I mean, it's pretty much a copy and paste each day for us. Coastal drizzle in the morning hours, cloudy skies. It's no sky July after all, right? And then once we head into this weekend, we don't see too much of a change. The only difference, we're going to see some gustier conditions into early next week. Now let's make our way over into our inland spots real fast. This is where we see the difference. Daytime highs start to rise a bit into Sunday and then cool back down into next week.
Well, trash continues to overflow in front of homes and designated dump sites around the Bay Area, and there's still no end in sight to the strike by workers with Republic Services. A lot of customers here in the Bay Area and beyond are impacted. Reporter Carmela Karcher introduces us to one woman in Stockton who's stepping up and getting the job done for a small fee.
I'm sure it won't take too long before we start to see I hate to say maggots and things of that sort in the food side of the cans.
Rotten trash piling up across parts of Stockton.
They apologize for the inconvenience and they're going to do what they can do. And I don't know what that's going to be, or what they're going to do.
The Republic Services strike is now in its 2nd week, which means it's been 2 weeks of unscheduled pickups and overflowing cans. Because of this and the smell, neighbors are starting to take action.
We were here at church the other night and noticed that our garbage can was overflowing and realized it was the same service that isn't being picked up that we've been hearing around town. So told members just throw it into the trailer and we'll go take care of it.
Stephanie Kahn is just one Stocktonian taking matters into her own hands. Now posting online, offering to take her trailer to your home and pick up your trash.
And we noticed that a lot of other people are experiencing the same thing. So we put our services out there to, we'll come pick up your trash for you and go dump it. So I've been staying really busy doing that.
Stephanie says they've been getting 50 to 75 requests per day. But her family services come at a cost.
Obviously, we would love to help everyone out, and we do have to charge a fee because there's gas. We do pay a fee at the dumps. The money that we're raising for all this is put these kids through their boxing.
After making multiple trips to the dump every day, Stephanie sees the problem piling up firsthand.
So they at least have anywhere from 5 to 10 bags on the outside of the garbage can. I think everyone's just trying to help in their community, their surroundings, and trying to help all those that are affected.
A sanitation strike with no end in sight, leaving people with few options.
Well, the city of Fairfield now threatening to sue Republic Services. It sent a letter to the company saying it will follow through with legal action if necessary. It calls the garbage strike a matter of public health. Well, for many Bay Area cities, the downtown waterfront can really be a source of vitality. But the city of Martinez still waiting for its ship to come in. There is some hope for the future, though. In its marina, at a city council meeting last night, leaders voted to negotiate a partnership with Tucker Sadler. That is an architectural company out of San Diego that could help revitalize the waterfront and marina. As our John Ramos reports, some are excited about what's to come, but not everyone.
On its own website, the city of Martinez refers to itself as the Bay Area's hidden gem. But what may be most hidden is the reason for anyone to come here. Now, people are getting their hopes raised once again that may be changing.
You know, all of our businesses want to thrive, and the best way that they can thrive is if they have people here to see what they have to offer.
Martinez has everything it needs to be a thriving destination for visitors. Its quaint downtown features historic buildings with small restaurants and antique shops. And then there's the waterfront, with a large park and a marina that many cities would love to have. But it remains ghostly quiet, and the facilities have fallen into disrepair. Chamber of Commerce President Aaron Allen Castry thinks he knows why.
Martinez lacks a attractor. You know, there's not something here that really drives people to come across the bridge and look at the marina and say, hey, what's that over there? We've lacked that. And I think this project gives us the opportunity to see something like that happen, to actually give people a reason to seek out Martinez.
As the head of a city with no money of its own to spend, Mayor Brianne Zorn is clearly excited by the prospect.
And it's a really wonderful opportunity to see somebody with as much experience as they have in other places of the country looking at Martinez and saying, yes, this is where I would like to invest our development dollars.
When she imagines what could be coming, her thoughts go to the similar-sized city of Edmonds, Washington.
They have a beautiful boutique downtown. They have a beautiful waterfront, lots of recreation, and they have a ferry.
That would be important because so far Martinez hasn't qualified to be a stop for Bay Area ferry service.
There's a lot of opportunity for it. We're very well situated. But again, without the people there, it doesn't meet the threshold.
People are what's important in any city, and downtown businesses like the Antique Corner could use a lot more foot traffic.
Foot traffic is like 90% of our business. When it's dead here, it's dead all day, and when we have people, it flourishes.
Wendy Tarian is one of the vendors in the Antique Collective. She has high hopes for what a reimagined waterfront could mean, but she also understands why, after years of promises, some are keeping a wait-and-see attitude.
I think that there's a certain feeling that, there's been an expectation and it hasn't been delivered within the time frame that folk expected. But I really firmly believe it's 2025, right? So there's going to be something and they're going to unveil it. And I have to feel positive about it. It's going to be great, I think, for the community.
Well, the mayor of Martinez says a draft of the negotiations between the city and Tucker Sadler will be discussed sometime in the fall. The newest attraction in San Francisco's Presidio opens today. It's a new picnic area called Outpost Meadow. It's a 1.5-acre park, and it's an extension of the Presidio tunnel tops. It features picnic tables, barbecue grills, and great views of the Golden Gate Bridge. When you think of the Bay Area, innovation is likely a word that comes to mind. And this weekend, a group of young minds from Mountain View High School is going to remind us why. Next Arrow has their story.
It takes a lot of brain power.
Do you have a Sharpie?
To build a car.
Is this a W heat shrink job?
That is completely solar powered. And there's a lot of that going around among the members of Garage 803 Racing. They're a team of students from Mountain View High School competing in the Solar Car Challenge, a national competition. And now in the home stretch of the project, Ryan Liu takes a moment to appreciate the months and months of work that he and his peers have put into it.
To be able to watch everything come together, really. I think it's been really a wonderful experience.
This is a rendering of what they're building. Come race time, they'll take turns behind the wheel under the hot sun on the Texas Motor Speedway, with a goal of driving as many miles as they can over the course of 4 days.
The temperatures are going to be very high, so we'll be taking shifts.
That's the goal with a finish line, says Tyler Wang.
Hopefully we'll be able to finish that race.
But the big picture of the project, academic curiosity, goes well beyond it.
Getting introduced to like more complicated and advanced topics in engineering that you wouldn't usually get exposed to in the normal high school curriculum.
All of us want to go into some sort of STEM field, some sort of engineering field.
So this project is really just the beginning for these future innovators.
I think the automotive field is very interesting right now. It's in a very interesting position as we try to find more alternative sources.
I'd probably like to get into motorsports. I've always loved racing, and I think it's a good way to use my engineering major, hopefully.
Aside from the tangible lessons reinforced by daily intellectual and physical workouts.
Yeah, it's definitely not without its challenges, but I believe it's if we can get this done, the payoff would be very nice.
These students are getting a crash course in the age-old lesson of, if you believe it, you can achieve it.
If you asked me like last year, I would never think would be possible, and just to see it see in front of you, I think it's a wonderful feeling.
If you have something that you want to do and you really put your mind to it and you take action on it, I think that you can pretty much do anything.
As for that moment when the rubber finally hits the road,
it's going to be very cool.
A car powered by the sun, created by bright young minds who call the Bay Area home.
Oh yeah, do we?
The 32nd annual race begins this Sunday. They're going to be competing against 26 other high school student teams from all over the country. Coming up next, a visitor from outside our solar system where you can see an extremely rare comet and exactly how close it'll get to Earth.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Well, that midweek cool down is coming to an end, but daytime highs aren't getting too drastically above average by any means. We're still holding on tight to 60s each day as we head into this weekend's forecast for our friends along the bay. Upper 60s, holding on tight to us into early next week too. But where we do see a difference when it comes to our daytime highs and the influence of high pressure building in, it's honestly our inland areas. Yesterday we were mostly in the 70s. Today we're back into the 80s, and we'll gradually warm into the mid 80s as we head into this weekend's forecast, with relative humidity dropping before we head into next week.
All right, let's take a trip to outer space. You see that little dot moving around there? It's a comet, but not just any comet. Our Brian Hackney shows us why it has astronomers around the world so excited.
This is Chabot Space and Science Center, and this is space expert Gerald McKeegan.
I got interested in astronomy when I was a kid.
And as a grown-up, he's got quite the telescope. This massive, century-old Chabot refractor, which has seen planets, galaxies, and the occasional comet. You remember your first comet?
Oh gosh, in the 1990s we had Hale-Bopp and Hyakutake, but for us astronomers, there are a lot more comets out there that we can't see with our naked eye, but we can see with our telescopes.
Just 2 weeks ago, one of those telescopes in Rio Hurtado, Chile, spotted one of the most extraordinary comets ever seen. Designated 3I Atlas, it's this tiny moving smudge against a forest of stars.
And it came into the solar system at amazingly high speed of 135,000 miles per hour.
Davide Farnokia is with the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena.
This is really exceptional. You have to be an interstellar object to be going that fast at that distance from the sun.
That's right. 3I Atlas is only the third object ever known to have come from another solar system light years away.
We don't know exactly where it came from. The direction that it's approaching our solar system is from the constellation Sagittarius, which is in the direction of the center of our galaxy.
This particular needle was picked out of the intergalactic haystack by NASA's Atlas system, meant to detect asteroids that might hit Earth.
But as you scan the sky to find asteroids, you're going to trap or discover other things.
At the moment, the comet is inside the orbit of Jupiter, headed for a close approach of the sun in October. So, two questions.
This is no threat to Earth.
No, absolutely not. It doesn't come anywhere close to Earth.
And as for seeing the ultra-rare comet,
You won't be able to see it with the naked eye, but it's actually pretty easy with a moderate-sized telescope.
in the meantime, scientists have just a few months to answer some big questions.
Where did it come from? What does it look like? And especially, what is its composition?
So it's a rare opportunity, and as a scientific community, we want to collect as many data as possible to characterize this object and learn as much as we can.
So astronomers expect that comet will remain observable until mid-2026. Coming up, we are going to introduce you to this week's Bay Area Icon Award winner.
He was a PhD student who gave up everything to serve the unhoused. Why even he has chosen to live in a tent today.
Most people who serve homeless people go home at the end of the day. But an East Bay man has made the choice to give away his own bed and the roof over his head. Our Sharon Chin introduces us to this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award winner.
For Vincent Panizzo, ministering to the unhoused is his life's mission. But there was a time when they weren't even on his radar.
I was a graduate student at UC Berkeley and studying ancient history, and I really didn't care much for the homeless.
Then one day,
I started reading the Bible to get some information, and I started to read the words of Jesus, and I was really surprised at what I found in there, particularly about caring for people, which I never really did before. What's up, Robert? How you doing, buddy?
he found faith and a calling. He dropped out of his PhD program to seek out the unsheltered.
God does love them and care for them, and I want to bring the light and the love of Christ to them.
In 2012, Vincent started the nonprofit Mission for the Homeless. He begins this day loading up donated groceries from the Emeryville Citizens Assistance Program. Its volunteer director Bobby Miller credits Vincent with finding folks who are too ill or physically unable to pick up the free food themselves.
At the end of the day, he has some solace in knowing that he reached some of those people who probably wouldn't have had anything to eat today.
Vincent drives his van from Fremont to El Cerrito every day and tends to more than 100 unhoused people on his regular route.
What's up, buddy?
He supplies more than food, clothes, blankets, and tents.
I have to make sure that they're okay. I have to sort of triage and see if they do they have any infections? Do they need to go to the hospital? Do they need to be taken off the streets immediately? Do you want a tent?
Yes. Gwen knows she's not forgotten. Somebody cares.
If he doesn't see us here, drive around and look for us. Somebody paid attention to you, right? Yes, that matters.
This is one of our houses.
Vincent's nonprofit also rents several homes to house 10 people he's taken off the streets.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for everything you provide for us.
They eat together like family. Eric says he was ready to give up on life when Vincent found him, gave him a tent, and offered hope.
He saved me one night. I was in the rain. I was very depressed. He's the way turned my life around. He made me happy.
And Eric is still baffled at how Vincent could choose to live in a tent outside the house so others could sleep in warm beds.
Put himself out to put me in. It's crazy.
We have very limited space, and I'm perfectly comfortable in a tent in the backyard. All right, I'll see you later, bro.
So for his mission to serve the East Bay's homeless, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to Vincent Panizzo.
His dedication does come with the cost. When he first started, Vincent was inviting folks off the street to live with his family in their apartment, and then they'd get kicked out. not an easy way to live, obviously. His wife left and took their infant son with her to the East Coast. These days, Vincent is hoping for corporate sponsorships so that he can buy homes and get more people housed. You can nominate a local hero for a CBS News Bay Area Icon Award on our website, kpix.com/icon. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your First Alert forecast and another look at your top stories.